Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganan Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Jaina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sudadevi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Paditanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavad-Gita as it is. Translation and commentary is Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Today is 1873. That's a famous verse. Nasta Moha, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, please repeat. Arjuna Vacha Nasta Moha Smriti Labdha Tat Prasadan Mayachyuta Sitosmi Gata Sandeha Karishye Tavavachanam. Oh yeah, sorry. Karishye Vachanam Tava Arjuna Vacha Nasta Moha Smriti Labdha Tat Prasadan Mayachyuta Sitosmi Gata Sandeha Karishye Vachanam Tava. Okay, gentlemen. Rishe Tavavam Vacha Arjuna Vacha Nastubha Smriti Labdha Tat Prasadan Mayachyuta Smigata Sandeha Krishe Vachanam Tava. Vaishnavi Arjuna Vacha Nasta Moha Smriti Labdha Tat Prasadam Mayachyuta Sitosmi Gata Sandeha Karishe Vachanam Tava Vacha Moha Smriti Labdha Tat Prasada Maya Chuta Chitosmi Gata Sandeha Karishye Vachanam Tava Arjuna Vacha Nasta Moha Smriti Labdha Tat Prasadam Maya Chuta Karishye Vachanam Tava. Okay, word for word, please repeat. Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna said. Nastaha. Dispelled. Moha. Illusion. Smriti. Memory. Labdha. Regained. Tat Prasadat. By your mercy. Maya. By me. Achyuta. O infallible Krishna. Stitaha. Situated. As me. I am. Gata. Removed. Sandeha. All doubts. Karishye. I shall execute. Vachanam. Order. Tava. Your. Translation, Srila Prabhupada. Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and I am prepared to act according to your instructions. Please repeat. Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and am prepared to act according to your instructions. Purport Srila Prabhupada. The constitutional position of a living entity represented by Arjuna is that he has to act according to the order of the Supreme Lord. He is meant for self-discipline. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the actual position of the living entity is that of eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. Forgetting this principle, the living entity becomes conditioned by material nature, but in serving the Supreme Lord, he becomes the liberated servant of God. The living entity's constitutional position is to be a servitor. He has to serve either illusory Maya or the Supreme Lord. If he serves the Supreme Lord, he is in his normal condition. But if he prefers to serve the illusory external energy, then certainly he will be in bondage. In illusion, the living entity is serving in this material world. He is bound by his lust and desires, yet he thinks of himself as the master of the world. This is called illusion. When a person is liberated, his illusion is over, and he voluntarily surrenders unto the Supreme to act according to his desires. The last illusion, the last snare of Maya, is to trap the living entity. To trap the living entity is the proposition that he is God. The living entity thinks that he is no longer a conditioned soul, but God. He is so unintelligent that he does not think that if he were God, then how could he be in doubt? That he does not consider. So that is the last snare of Maya. Actually, to become free from the illusory energy is to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and agree to act according to his order. The word moha is very important in this verse. Moha refers to that which is opposed to knowledge. Actually, real knowledge is the understanding that every living entity is eternally a servitor of the Lord. But instead of thinking oneself in that position, the living entity thinks that he is not a servant, that he is the master of this material world, for he wants to lord it over the material nature. That is his illusion. This illusion can be overcome by the mercy of the Lord or by the mercy of a pure devotee. When that illusion is over, one agrees to act in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is acting according to Krishna's order. A conditioned soul, illusioned by the external energy of matter, does not know that the Supreme Lord is the Master who is full of knowledge and who is the proprietor of everything. Whatever he desires, he can bestow upon his devotees. He is the friend of everyone, and he is especially inclined to his devotee. He is the controller of this material nature and of all living entities. He is also the controller of inexhaustible time, and he is full of all opulences and all potencies. The Supreme Personality of Godhead can even give himself to the devotee. One who does not know him is under the spell of illusion. He does not become a devotee, but a servitor of Maya. Arjuna, however, after hearing Bhagavad-Gita from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, became free from all illusion. He could understand that Krishna was not only his friend, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he understood Krishna factually. So to study Bhagavad-Gita is to understand Krishna factually. When a person is in full knowledge, he naturally surrenders to the Lord, to Krishna. When Arjuna understood that it was Krishna's plan to reduce the unnecessary increase of population, he agreed to fight according to Krishna's desire. He again took up his weapons, his arrows and bow, to fight under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Wonderful purport there. Mukam karochi vachalam pangam laitegrib yat kripa tamaham bande Shri Guru dinatarinam. So this is famous, the last three words there, Krishye tavavachanam. I am now ready to act according to your words, your instruction, your order, as Prabhupada translated. So the beginning, nasta moha, means moha means illusion. So what was the illusion, as Prabhupada so clearly explains, is that he thinks, the living entity thinks he's a material product. He's something of this world. That's the first type of illusion. We think we're this material mind, this material body, and thereby we consider I'm from this particular place in the material world. I'm from Australia, I'm from America, I'm from India, I'm from Hong Kong, whatever. We identify with the external dress of the mind and body. Some philosophers think I'm not the body, but I'm the mind, like this and so on and so forth. But they have an unclear idea of the soul. The soul is separate from the mind and the body. This is the important thing. And it is the consciousness of the soul that is underlying the potency of the mind and under the body. But they consider, if I'm the soul, then I'm the emotions, my desires, my higher self. But those on the more bodily platform think I'm this body. And I'm a strong young man, I'm an old man, I'm a beautiful girl, I'm an old lady, so on and so forth, identifying with the gross body. So that is gross form of illusion. More subtle form of illusion is I think I'm this mind, this soul, my emotions, my knowledge. But there's no clear understanding in those points of view that you are not the body, you are not the mind, you're the soul. And of course, the soul is angsa, mavaivangsa jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana. The soul is the angsa, as Krishna says earlier, mavaivangsa jiva loke. The living entities in this world are my eternal fragmental parts. So what does that mean? What it means is that Krishna is like a fire, and the living entity is like a spark. Krishna is like a mountain of gold, but the living entity is like a particle of gold. Krishna is like a huge ocean. We're a particle of the ocean. We're a drop of the ocean. So we're the same quality as Krishna, but we're not the same quantity. Krishna is one and unlimited in potency and quantity, But we are many, the living entities, the individual souls. We are many in number. Krishna is singular in number. We are unlimited in number, but we're limited in size. We're angsa. So actually the soul, as described by Srila Prabhupada in the Vedas, of course, is, Prabhupada would often give the example that if you took the tip of a hair, which is very small, insignificant, circular, and you cut it into 10,000 pieces, that would be the dimension, approximately, of course, of the soul. But earlier in the Gita, Krishna says the soul is amazing. Those that hear of the soul, know of the soul, they are struck with its amazing quantity. Because the soul is generating the consciousness. So that is amazing, is it not? Just if you consider you buy a battery, but it's limited in its function, right? Even if you recharge it, it'll only last, I don't know, 200 charges or something, and then it'll be useless. But the soul, because it is a particle of eternality, Krishna is eternal, Sat. Therefore it is eternal and its functionality is eternal. So the soul is Sat. And Krishna, as we see in the Gita, the Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna. So Krishna's Ishvara Parama was his nature. Then Lord Brahma gives his nature. And so that his nature is the same as us. Sat is eternal. Chit is conscious. What is consciousness? Consciousness is self-awareness, right? And it's manifested as desire. And what is it a desire for? Anand. The living Satchit Ananda. Anand. He wants to enjoy. Krishna is Anandamoy Vyasa. The creation, both material and spiritual, is an expression of his desire to enjoy. He's Leelamaya. He wants to engage in spiritual in pastimes that bring him joy. And if we look at ourselves, that's what we want to do, right? We don't get up in the morning and plan to make ourselves miserable, even if we are miserable. But we don't know how to, because identifying with the material body, we think that if I make this body happy or this mind happy, through sensuality on the gross plane, or some kind of illusory, I'm a great king, I'm a great scholar, I'm a great man in this world, Dhanam Janam Sundarim, by attaining money, by attaining followers and status in society, and having sex life and so on and so forth. This will make me happy. But no. Because we're in the spirit soul, these things may satisfy us on a superficial level temporarily. We cannot find certainly unlimited pleasure in these material things. Therefore, Prabhupada gives the example, dhanam, wealth. Why are the millionaires committing suicide? Because they're enjoying a wild lifestyle, not always, of course, the disciplined ones. They're taking lots of drugs, drinking, and this and that. They have unlimited women of easy virtue available. But they're not finding satisfaction, right? In fact, the more that you engage in the material energy, the less you find it satisfying. You become burnt out. So Krishna says, he doesn't say don't engage in material sense enjoyment, because we all need to eat, sleep, mate, and defend. But the codes, Dhammam tu Shakshad Bhagavat Pranihitam, are given in the Vedas. Yes, you need to eat, but eat in a vegetarian way, and like we were saying, don't eat too much. Eat nice vegetarian foods, and don't have unnecessarily animal killing, but take nice milk products. There you'll get your necessary B12 and so on. Eat, sleep, then don't oversleep. Don't sleep during dusk or dawn, for example. And if you're in a healthy way, you will sleep adequately, 6 hours is enough. But if you need more, take it. So on and so forth. Don't be artificial. Eat, sleep, mate. And then if you want sex life, then take an honest wife and be an honest husband. And discipline yourself in that way. Have children and then bring them up in Krishna consciousness. But not through force, but just by being a good example and being kind, and the children naturally follow the mother and father. So if they're giving loving attention to and they are happy in Krishna consciousness and their spiritual practice, then they'll be happy. And defend, yes. A man should protect the family. He should be noble. He should be reliable, and he should maintain his family. That is there in the teachings of Prithu Maharaj in the 4th canto, I believe, Prithu Maharaj. The man should protect, maintain, and guide the family, protect physically, maintain physically, and so on. But he should also be the guru of the family. He should teach the children spiritual matters, and also materially. He should equip the wife and children with good knowledge. So those codes are there. And then the wife should be faithful to the husband. That means trusting in the husband. That means the husband should be trustworthy, and he should behave in a manner that inspires trust and faith. Then the wife should be chaste, and she should defer to the husband. She should let the man be the man of the house and respect him. But it doesn't mean to say that the husband should be dictatorial. They should, consult in matters. But generally the man understands the external world more than a woman, because the woman understands more internally how to bring up children. So there's a balance there. So those codes are given, but they're not dictatorial. They can be altered according to the circumstances and the personalities involved, of course. So it's not like you've got to do this and that and so on. But those advices are given. And then you can awaken the spiritual consciousness on the basis of a regulated material life. So that is surrender to Krishna, to accept the codes and his advice in the Shastra. But the basic idea is that, to accept the instruction of Krishna, as Prabhupada said here, and as we saw at the beginning of the Gita, that Arjuna was thinking materially and on the bodily platform. He was thinking, it is a terrible thing. Like you say, I'm giving verse, in 2 weeks I'll give the first verse. They're on the battlefield. And this is not, Bhagavad-Gita is not spoken, in a nice comfy sofa. It's on the battlefield. And, it's a real battle. You just conceive of it. It's a matter of arrows and bows and brahmastras and violence and killing. So what man would not be disturbed? But Arjuna was looking on the other side, and my teachers are there, my seniors are there. This is a terrible thing. So he was moha. He was thinking on the bodily platform. These are my relatives. Duryodhana, let him take the kingdom. He's not a very good man, but let him take it. It's better that he takes it than I kill all these people, and my heart will be. And you see that, of course, the Pandavas, Arjuna and Yudhisthira, the leaders of the Pandavas, they were successful on the battlefield. But even there we see at the beginning of the Bhagavatam, Yudhisthira Maharaj, he was very unhappy. I can't really enjoy this kingdom, so that is the nature of a devotee. He's soft-hearted. Arjuna was soft. He's a great Kshatriya and powerful, but evil people, they take relishment in killing and all this, They're called psychopaths and horrible. That is the demoniac thing. But Yudhisthira, after the battle, he was thinking, I'm sitting on the throne, but my cost. So he was Krishna advised him, now you perform a yajna for the souls of the departed, and worship and do bhajan of the Supreme Lord, and then you'll feel peaceful. So that's the thing. So a devotee thinks like that. But he was in illusion. because he was thinking, no, Krishna, I don't want to fight. So Krishna in the Gita explains, no, this is all done by me. Because these people, and if you remember the beginning of the Bhagavatam 10th canto, Lord Brahma was looking at the world and it's covered with unnecessary forces, demoniac kings. And they're just exploiting the praja, the people. It's very similar to nowadays, isn't it? Billions and billions and trillions is being spent on rockets and bombs and aircraft carriers and God knows what. The flowers of the youth are being killed on the battlefield unnecessarily. All the millions and billions that are spent on, say, an aircraft carrier. Why invade a country? Just build them hospitals and educational facilities and such, and that will be good for the... No, we want to be the controller. So this is the point that Prabhupada comes to in the purport, right? That above the sensuality, then the last snare of Maya is people want to become God. I am the Ravana, right? Like Ravana or Hiranyakashipu. I'm the number one. And the Hiranyakashi and Hiranyaksha Leela, they want to kill Vishnu. They have such an understanding of Vishnu that you can kill him, right? That he's another being. That he's God now, but I'm going to perform austerities and I'll become more powerful than him and I'll kill him. So this is the illusion. Krishna is God permanently. He's not got the job because he sat in a cave in the Himalayas. He didn't perform austerities. He was stealing the butter of the gopis. He's God eternally. He's not gaining some material potency by tapa. Prabhupada says there that the man should be self-controlled, yes. So that is tapasya, to make your eating, sleeping, mating and defending. But it's controlled in according to the codes of the Supreme Lord, given in the Vedas. But the goal is not to become God, but to become purified so that you can understand the Supreme Lord, as Prabhupada said, and then act according to his direction. Right? So that is very important. That yes, you can understand Krishna to a certain extent through book knowledge, but then you should karishye vachanam tava. You have that option. That now you've understood Krishna, but now are you going to act according to his advice? You see? So this is the independence of the living entity. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his writings, he gives three kind of people that have great trouble in surrendering. First one, he says, the incurables. They don't want to surrender. They're incurably, in a material sense, ultimately temporarily, attached to the material conceptions of life. And then he gives a second, they want to be a drug dealer, they want to be a big man, and they want to, they know about Krishna, but they don't want to surrender. It's kind of hard knot in the heart. Second one is, he gives those that are lacking in knowledge. They haven't really understood the value that you can get. That's one, it says at the beginning of the Bhagavad-Gita, Yayanti Sumedasa, the intelligent class, they take to yoga, bhakti-yoga, spiritual life, because they have the intelligence to see the value. So Nasta Moha Smriti Labdha, what has Krishna done to make Arjuna realize his spiritual knowledge? Because he's trained up by many gurus, Astra gurus, but he was forgetful seeing this terrible situation on the battlefield. The knowledge is that what Krishna said, the Bhagavad-Gita. So it is that potency, it is that hearing of the Vedic message. The Gita is the summation. It is like the Vedanta Sutra of the Mahabharata, and the expansion there is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it is that knowledge, it is absorbing that knowledge that gives us the knowledge that inspires us. As they say, even in the material world, knowledge will set you free, right? And that's in, I think we mentioned it last week, right? Krishna tells Arjuna, armed with knowledge, Arjuna, stand and fight. But he's not necessarily stand and fight on the battlefield, but stand against illusion armed with knowledge. So the second category of people that find it hard to act accordingly are those that haven't quite picked up the value of the knowledge. And then the third type is the Hridabalyam, those that are weak in heart. Yeah, I'd like to be a devotee, but I'm a bit lazy about it. You know, I'd rather watch the soap operas or something like that. And I'd rather get involved in social affairs and so on and so forth. So they're weak-hearted, because it does take some stand and fight. It takes some determination. But all of that can be overcome by spiritual knowledge. But those are the three categories Bhakti-Vinod say have difficulties. So that is there. But they are all able to be fixed up eventually. But the course is knowledge and association. And we see that. Prabhupada, I was just watching a little bit of it yesterday, Yadabara's film, America. What did Prabhupada do? He went there with 40 rupees, a box of books. He found a place where he could give discourse, and people became devotees. And from that ISKCON sprung, from the knowledge that Prabhupada gave. So that's why Shravanam is so important. It's the most important thing. You must hear the knowledge. You must understand the Vedic knowledge, the Vedic prescription. And then you become enlightened. And then you can, the path is there. But you must also have a certain determination. So that's why Vaidhi is very important, regulated devotion at the beginning. And asatsangichagi vaishnavacha. You shouldn't associate with materialistic people, because when you're in the beginning stage, you can be affected by their association. So it is that knowledge, krishyate tavavashanam. Now I'm ready to act according to you've given me all this knowledge. Now I'm ready to act accordingly. So it is there, but the point is there also, like if we return to that point, it is voluntary, right? Krishna has given us spiritual knowledge in the Gita. Krishna has given us independence of will. And we are looking for Ananda. We're looking, with our consciousness. But we have to do the choosing. Which Ananda we want? Do we want to chase the material illusion, moha? I'm a big man, I've got lots of money, I want these things, do we want to chase that? Or do we want to manmana, fix the mind on Krishna, be a yogi? And the result of fixing the mind on Krishna and being a yogi is that you absorb that quality. You're the same as him. And your consciousness, when it's projected into enjoying the external material energy, you won't really have any enjoyment. It is stated in the Shastra, I've read it in the Vedanta Sutra, purports of Baladev Buddhibhushan. It says the highest enjoyment in the material world is for a man to have a chaste wife, healthy children, a piece of land, be in debt to nobody. That's called 1 unit of happiness. And it goes on in this Upanishad verse, it says, and a young prince in a free kingdom, with all the facilities of being a prince, the best musicians, the best dancing girls, that is compared to 50 units. But then it explains, but the Gandharvas, they have 500 units of pleasure in comparison. And then above that it explains all the different, living entities as they go up and so on and so forth. And then the position of the rishis, of course in the higher realms it's practically spiritual, but there is still a touch of the mode of goodness. But they're enjoying thousands of units of pleasure. But the living entity in the spiritual world is living unlimited pleasure. Because in the spiritual world, once the Swarup is developed, the relationship with Krishna is developed, then Krishna empowers the living entity. Though he's still a spark in the material world, he becomes empowered by, this is in the Vedanta Sutra, Krishna empowers him, just like Vedavyas is Shaktives avatar, Jnana avatar. So the living entity in the spiritual form, though he is minute inside, he becomes so empowered by Krishna, he has to be. And he practically relates to Krishna in Golok Vrindavan on an equal footing. And it explains there in the Vedanta Sutra that the only potency, practically speaking, he doesn't have is to make a creation. Because, that would confuse matters if everyone was making their own golok and their own material creation. So the only potency that the living entity is there in the Vedanta Sutra. I was very struck by it. He has a potency that is equivalent almost, it's dependent on Krishna, but that feeling of dependency is there. Krishna's my friend. Sakyabhav. Oh, Krishna's my son, Vatsalyabhav. We're going to hear about that next week in the purport, the introduction. Oh, Krishna's my lover, or Krishna's my master. But you're relating to the unlimited Supreme Lord in a way of almost equivalence. So the pleasure in the spiritual world is unlimited for the living entity, because he becomes empowered to enjoy practically on the same plane as Krishna. And therefore, when those great Nityasiddhas come, they exhibit incredible potency. Like the Vedic literature, there's nothing like it. There's no comparison in the world. It's so consistent. It's all like, for example, the Mahabharata is 100,000 verses. I used to study English, and Robert Frost and all those people, and Shakespeare, and if they can knock together 100 verses, it's considered an epic poem. Vedavyas just recited 100,000 verses of the Mahabharata. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is an extremely high poetic Sanskrit. And the Vedanta Sutra is so brilliant. The sutra means compressed knowledge, sutra, and it's just incredible knowledge. And if you delve into it and you hear this, then you see the value of it. But it should be done in disciplic succession, as Prabhupada said, under the guidance of a Shiksha Guru, somebody who has realized this knowledge, somebody who has absorbed this knowledge to a good extent. Then he can give the knowledge in a potent and correct way. So that is what dispels the illusion, is the Vedic knowledge. And then after hearing, if we chant, then we will, that will purify the mind and consciousness. It will waken up the soul to our actual relationship, our Swarup. In later classes, I want to give a class on the Swarup, specifically, maybe in the 2 weeks. But I think we should set the scene in 2 weeks. But anyway, and the nature of the Swarup. And then he will wake up in his Swarup, Shravanam Kirtanam. Kirtanam actually means description. On one purport, Prabhupada explained, one lecture, Prabhupada says, Kirtan means to describe. When we chant Hare Krishna, we're describing Radha and Krishna. Krishna is Supreme Godhead, Radha is energy. That's the basic understanding of Godhead. So then you will naturally become absorbed in Smaranam, right? Because where the mind, as we say at the beginning of the class, is looking for pleasure. Krishna is Leelamai, so we're Leelamai. But we're trying to enjoy the Leela of the material world instead of the Leela of the spiritual world. you see. So, but once you, the entrance to that transcendental pleasure, Anandamoy Vyasat, is through knowledge, because that opens the door, it purifies us, it inspires us. And then if we absorb ourselves in Kali Yuga, in chanting and supplication through our chanting, lobta, desire, then Krishna responds to that. As Prabhupada says here, Krishna is a friend of everyone, but he's especially inclined to his devotee naturally. We might be have a good attitude to all living entities, you know, but those that are our friends and kind to us and sympathetic, empathetic, then we especially acquire, this is my friend. So Krishna says that in the Gita, what? Samaham sarvabhuteshu madbhaktena, that I am equal to all living entities, but those that are my devotees, they're friend to me and I'm a friend to them. So this is natural, because Krishna is a person. We talked about this last week, didn't we? We're relating to a person. So therefore, smaranam, the mind, this awakened soul, will take pleasure in the spiritual platform. And then Padasevanam, that everything in your material situation you'll do as an offering to Krishna. And also Padasevanam means that as your soul wakes up, you'll awaken to your spiritual relationship, your swarup with Krishna, and you'll gradually absorb and relate to Krishna on the transcendental platform. And then you're ready to go to where the Krishna Leela is in the material world. We don't go directly to Golok generally. We go to the place where Krishna's Leela is being performed. There are unlimited material universes within the causal ocean, and Krishna's Leela is in various stages. So we take birth in that Leela, and thereby the association of the Nitya-siddhas that accompany Krishna in the material world when he manifests his Leela, our bhava, our attraction to Krishna becomes condensed, if you like, into prema. And then we can relate to Krishna entirely on the spiritual platform. So that's Padasevanam. So that's Bhagavat Marg. And then there is the other 5 issues, practices, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. They can be formed conjointly in bhakti process. Bhagavat Marg is that Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam. That's compared to like one train line, but a train line has 2. So Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam is regulated generally understood as regulated worship of the deity form. But Bhagavat Marg in itself, hearing, chanting, remembering, and developing service bhava towards Krishna, that in itself is sufficient to take us back to Godhead. So this is the process, and it is this knowledge that Krishna has given, Sambandha Gyan, of our relationship with Krishna and our non-relationship in one sense with the material energy, that liberates us. We wake up, because unless we know there's an alternative, that's all we're going to search for, material happiness. So that's the mission of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, that we have a duty to perform Sankirtan. Lord Chaitanya appeared for 5 reasons given there. 2 were external, to propagate the Sankirtan movement and to answer the prayer of Advaitacharya. And the 3 internal were to understand the position of Radharani, to experience the bliss she feels in her service, and also to understand himself from her point of view. What it is about me that Radharani finds attractive. So So there's a kind. It indicates Krishna's humility. He's not thinking I'm God and no wonder everyone thinks I'm wonderful. He's thinking, why does Radharani find me attractive? There's kind of humility in that thought, is there not? And that's the sweetness of a person, their humility. So similarly, we have, taking that, we can understand that we have to propagate the spiritual movement of Lord Chaitanya. This is an external activity, and we have to fulfill the order of the Guru. Those are the two externals you can apply to us individuals. But also we should understand Krishna and our relationship with Krishna. And we should develop Seva Bhav. Krishna wanted to understand the Seva Bhav, the mood of service that Radharani has. So that is our internal development, and we must be careful that we don't just regulate the senses and sell books. That's great, and go on Sankirtan. That's great, but we must also develop internally and spiritually. We must be developing our relationship with Krishna, and that means the Leela Shastra. That is the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada has given there. There's wonderful discourses by Rupa Goswami with Lord Chaitanya, Sanatana Goswami, Ramananda Roy, and the Anjalila is explaining the ecstasies of Lord Chaitanya. So that will give us an introduction to the transcendental world. Like we discussed last week, we should understand the material world and we should understand the spiritual world. The spiritual world is for our own, it is to give us access to that. So that basically is the knowledge of the Vedas. And if we absorb it from a good source, a Shiksha Guru who is realized in it, and we try to practice in a steady way. There is that verse at the end of the Brahma Samhita, Pramanas tad sadacharas tadabhyasya nirantaram bodhayan atmanam bhaktim apayutamam labet. How does one attain the highest devotion? By the constant of endeavor, helped by three things. Pramana. Pramana means the Shastra, the Veda, the words of the... Pramana means evidence. The words of the Vedas, the words of the Acharyas, of the great rishis. Pramana. Then, tadabhyasya. We should live a pious sattvic life, like we explained at the beginning. Should live according to the codes. Don't become a sensual person, unlimited sensuality, become a whatnot, as Prabhupada says. That's old English, a whatnot, just do anything. No, that is not pious sattvic life. We should be living. And also, there's no happiness in that excessive life. It becomes pap, you see. It becomes therefore the people that indulge in unlimited sensuality, they become frustrated and even suicidal, and then they have to go to the rehab, right? They go to the hospital and they take out the heroin and the cocaine and the alcohol and all that, and they feel better. Oh, thank God you saved me. And then they go back and start it again. So there's no happiness in unregulated sensuality in the material world. So pious, third thing is perseverance in practice. So constant endeavor for self-realization with the help of scriptural evidence, pious sattvic life, and perseverance. And we should persevere. We may have troubles. Just like a bicycle, it's always falling one side or the other, right? It's called dynamic instability in physics, because it's and then he does it automatically. When you're riding a bicycle, it's always going to one side or the other. And you carry on because you're adjusting. So perseverance in practice means that. I'm not perfect, but I'm going to readjust things so that I can keep up my endeavor. And if you fall off the bicycle, you get back on the bicycle. And then eventually you're able to ride the bicycle without thinking. You see? That's the state of rag bhakti, bhava bhakti. Because the mind is already fixed on Krishna. So the tremors or the disturbance of the material energy, they don't really bother the devotee because he's so expert at balancing. But at the beginning, like a child, he has to have sometimes those wheels, extra wheels at the back, something like that, to help him. And he's struggling to learn how to balance the bicycle. So that is like the neophyte condition. That the mind is tending, and it needs support of sadhu sangha and adherence to vaidhi. And then gradually the devotee learns to balance, and he can take off, what do they call, baby wheels or something? Training wheels. Yeah, they can take off the training wheels. But still, you can't, take it. Well, some people take their hands off the thing. Right, so now we have to finish now, right? Because the devotees of Radhanath Maharaj want to have a meeting. Yes, so we'll finish now. So sorry, we don't have time for class. We have time for two questions. Okay, so if there are 2 questions, we'll answer them quickly. All questions answered, right? The best thing is to study the Shastra as well, along with our chanting. And one day, I'm not at that stage yet, we can take off the training wheels. And then we can take our hands off the handlebars and wave at the crowd. But still be careful. Okay. Thank you all very much for coming to class, your kind attention. Jai. Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, Sadhu Sangha Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Oh, you're welcome. Sorry,